Botswana is one of Africa's premier tourist destinations, and the Okavango Delta is undoubtedly the jewel of the Kalahari. This UNESCO World Heritage Site is one of the world's largest inland deltas and ranges in size from 15,000 square kilometers during drier periods to over 22,000 square kilometers in wetter times. Thousands of remote islands encircled by endless palm and papyrus-fringed waterways teem with prolific wildlife and countless bird species. A picture-perfect destination for phototourism. But the tourism industry is cutthroat, with countless global destinations offering a wide selection of choices. In order to compete in this sector, intensive marketing is essential and the development of a strong brand key. Selling the Wild Africa product requires that the brand appeals to the sensitivities of the Western clientele's worldview. In that Lion King universe, the endless, untamed wilderness is devoid of the human touch. Although the Okavango Delta is a unique drawcard for Botswana, a competitive edge is vital when competing in the crowded tourism space. In the quest to trump rival regional destinations, Botswana's phototourism sector found just the ticket. With a little help from friends in high places, safari hunting was banned on all but private land in January 2014. The all-new and improved brand Botswana could now be promoted as a blood-free destination, a safe haven into which persecuted elephants could escape from safari hunting in the neighboring countries of Zimbabwe and Namibia. Whilst this decision may have favored brand Botswana, there was little widespread, inclusive consultation and scant regard was given to the implications for both people and wildlife. Over the past 35 years, Botswana's rural population has declined considerably, due mostly to the economic lure of urban life. However, around 50% of the country's total still live in the rural areas, and arable farming is the major source of income. 80% of Botswana's 582,000 square kilometer land area is covered by the Kalahari Desert, but only 5% is suitable for arable agriculture, and less than 1% is under cultivation. Agriculture comprises a mere 2.4% of GDP, but it is vital to the livelihoods of the country's rural populace. The livestock industry has been supported for many years by subsidies from the European Union in order to access that market. But certain conditions, including disease control, have to be met. Foot and mouth disease is highly contagious and easily spread. Cape buffalo are considered a reservoir species for the disease, and fencing is the only way to separate buffalo from livestock. Two zones have been defined: the red zone for livestock ranching, where buffalo occur, and the green zone on the other side of the fence. Red zone livestock which have not been vaccinated and quarantined, along with livestock products, cannot be transported into the green zone. All of northern Botswana falls within the red zone because of the prolific wildlife, and so farmers within that area are restricted in their ability to access the more lucrative beef markets. The Heinefeld farms are situated within the red zone between the Central Kalahari Game Reserve and the Okavango Delta. The area was originally zoned for commercial cattle development, but today the southernmost tier of Heinefeld farms operate as game ranches. In the north, cattle ranching is still the principal activity.
When I was growing up in this part of the country, there was never any elephant. But starting about 10 to 15 years ago, you started getting the odd bull here and there that would come across to these sites. And back then it was novelty. People liked seeing an elephant every once in a while. But it has grown from the single bull to breeding herds, bachelor bulls. It's becoming a real, or it has actually become a real problem, and it's affecting people's livelihoods.
My father started farming in 1971. I came into farming in 2003. I buy a bit of cattle with the government money. Today I'm still servicing the loan, but the elephants are destroying the fences, the tanks, and the borehole also. No, the elephant has destroyed the borehole here. They just pulled the pipes out from the borehole. The pump was damaged already.
We came across this carcass that obviously this elephant was shot, and not on anybody's farm in particular. What probably happened here is that somebody came across this elephant walking by the side of the boundary and shot it just randomly. This shows growing resentment towards these animals because people are not finding value in them anymore. They see them as pests, as a nuisance, as animals that cost them money and production of their livestock.
There's no need to plow because the elephant used to come here and eat all my grains. So my aim was to sell my field, to go and stay in town. The life is going to be difficult because me, I'm a farmer. I'm afraid to stay here. Each and every night they come. It was on Sunday, at 3 o'clock, 3 of them, they passed through the village there. We cannot go around and look our cattle here. We are afraid to go in the bush. Our animals are wild like wild animals because of the elephant. Sometimes they kill the animals. This wildlife office, I don't know how it's the government or what, we don't know. Because they are the one responsible for these animals. They say it is our animals. We should live with them. And they are not my animals because I cannot benefit from them. We have told them that if they can make a plain yauri, they can take them back where they came from. Then they say we should live with them. Sometimes we ask ourselves, why did God make such animals like this? I was asking myself that question. We are in trouble here in Mawan, and we don't have guns. We don't have food. A drought, no food, no money. Yeah. So we don't know what can we do. At 7 o'clock, I'm staying at home. I don't want to go there. I cannot say, no, let me go there. I want to check my grandmother there, or I want to visit somebody. At 7 o'clock, when the sun goes set, I'm just home. We are in refugee camp here.
As you can see, our fields, nothing to do because of the elephants. They are moving up and round everywhere. We can't do anything. We can't stay with the elephants. We are suffering. See my fields. Nothing to eat.
Conservation areas are not just ecological areas. They are critically linked to people around them, to political influences, etc. And as such, in science, they are described as socio-ecological systems. We cannot consider a protected area in isolation to the surrounding areas. If we do, in the long term, that protected area will fail.
In the Okavango Delta, we have almost 13 of the community-based organizations. These are the organizations which, when they started in the early 1990s, the main land use for the concession areas they had was mostly phototourism and safari hunting. So safari hunting continued in the Okavango until it was suspended in 2014. Before then, more than 75% of the income which communities generated came from safari hunting. After 2014, when safari hunting was suspended, we started having all these animals moving into human settlements. They are now all over. Elephants are responsible for crop damage. The reports indicate that a large number of people have been killed by elephants, simply because elephants have moved into human settlements.
Once the hunting ban was imposed, it became really clear to everyone that very few direct benefits were being allocated to the rural communities that lived just outside the fences of these very wildlife-rich areas.
He doesn't know why hunting stopped. There was never any consultation. They just woke up one morning and they were told that your source of income, your way of life, it has abruptly been stopped. Was it not worthwhile in terms of revenue? Were the animal numbers going down? There was just never any consultation, and they are still waiting for an explanation, really, why their livelihoods were changed.
We had an almost collapse of some of the community-based organizations because hunting was the main revenue earner. Communities, some lost their jobs, some projects actually were stopped. These are marginal areas. The majority of them were marginal areas where phototourism cannot survive. No phototourist would love to go to an area where really it's just marginal and you will drive and drive and drive and see nothing. So right now, some of these areas are actually not being utilized, and it's not an economic ideal really to have vast areas which are marginal, which are not used.
He's basically just telling you that when there was hunting, if, for example, an elephant got shot, that carcass would be cut up. Enough would go for the staff that would be working in that camp, and that elephant would be cut up, it would be presented to the people, and people would spend the whole day there making strips. Each and every family got meat. Currently what's going on, they have to really struggle to find protein because if meat does come here, if somebody does slaughter an animal for sale, the meat is quite expensive to a point where they have to live off soup.
Communities which were involved in hunting before the hunting ban, really, almost everybody was doing something. I did a study in 2010. In Sankoyo, Kwai and Mawawe, there was almost zero unemployment. In Ngamiland alone, I think 200 jobs were lost. Each country will rather want to see employment being created than being lost.
So there's good examples of where it has worked very well, where communities can maximize their income, such as the Chobe Enclave Community Trust, where they used to have the photographic tourism all along the Linyanti swamps, no hunting in that area, that was just for photographic. And then in the backcountry, far away towards the Chobe Forest Reserve, they had the safari hunting, which was bringing in a lot of money to the community. And so these communities were really optimizing the income they were getting. Now, taking away the safari hunting, they only have the photographic. They're not getting anywhere near the amount of money that they could be getting from the system. The Westerners are trying to dictate their false paradigm of management of protected areas in Africa.
They are armchair critics from afar, and they use ransom and threat. And for some of us in Africa, who have been through periods of colonization, it's a painful, horrible reminder of our terrible past, where we were abused by an onslaught of racist underdevelopment and neglect. A total abrogation of the basic elements of civilization.
The status that you confer on a local community when you devolve authority to it, that means more to them that they are the authority in their local area than any benefits that you give to them. I've never been disappointed yet. Every single community that's been empowered that I know and I've been involved with has blossomed. If you've got a very valuable resource, like Botswana has with its elephants, communities will go along with you because of the high value of the benefits. But if that value of benefits drops, they won't go along with you.
So in all our policy frameworks, in all our laws, in all our economic empowerment programs, our people come first. And so we ask the world, and particularly the critics of what we're doing, to come visit us and realize that we are a people who think and feel, who want the best for our people. There are people who have hearts, veins that run through their bodies. They pray, they are God-fearing, they are religious, and they have challenges. But they have a right to development. And we have a right to determine that path of development. So we're going to do it.